Ready to go. Fire it up. Cue the Harley Davidson like rev on the bike. Yeah, we're not there yet. We're not a produced show. This is just our healing choices. A bunch of people getting together to talk about a different wellness topic each week. Happens every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific. It's simply we talk about what we know about the topic at hand and stuff we have to learn about it. And it's a topic that we could learn something from. It's just chill, kick back and listen and learn. Hopefully something you didn't already know. So without further ado, we've got week 130.
Sorry guys, this is why you can't hear me, because the train.
Hoping this is cool. I'm just gonna pick up where I left off. Cool.
Yeah, you're fine. I'll be back. I'm gonna change my battery on my phone. Hope I don't miss much.
Sweet. Would be good to have you back either way. Have your insight. Anyway, it's week 113. Harnessing our intuitive abilities. Potential talking points for the night. What is intuition? Where does it come from? How do we access it? How can we hear it better, more clearly? Our personal experiences with intuition. What is our intuition currently saying to us? Can we really trust it? When can we trust it? How can we trust it? Loving ourselves enough to listen to it and act on its guidance. And the last question, at least tentative for the program tonight, is how to harness it, our intuition, that is, to make better choices and heal our life. So maybe let's just start. What is intuition?
Simple. It's your soul.
Hey guys. Hey, I'd like to bring up something we talked about last week, and I'd like to do it early in the program so it can give some people time for those who want to participate. Anybody that was here last week would know that our topic was, what if we had only 3 months to live? Like we were given this kind of bad news from the doctor. So I came up with this idea that we can write out a bucket list. And this isn't just like something that we have no plans to fulfill. We're going to make it realistic so that we can fulfill it in 3 months. And today we were going to share what we have on our list. Our assignment is to do at least 6 items on the list. And some of you probably don't know about this or haven't started on it yet. So for those who'd like to participate, you can do it now. I was able to do my list in just over 5 minutes, 8 items. So I think we could do this like maybe about an hour from now, which will give others more of a chance to write them down. And what we're going to do is share today what those things are on our list, and then in 3 months meet up and discuss what we scratched off our list, and hopefully everything, because we want to just come up with things that we really can attain. We really can do. We don't have to be big and elaborate. And hello, everyone.
Thank you, Cheryl, for refreshing everyone on that possibility. Yeah, you guys, the idea was, I guess, to list 6, at least 6, if you can come up with them, and at least do one within the 3 months, hopefully all 6. So thanks for bringing that up, Cheryl. I apologize for forgetting. But all right, maybe we can check in with you guys in about an hour if you want to work on that on the side. I haven't come up with a complete list yet myself, so don't think that you have to have anything like now. But we'll try to get it by the end of the night and plan on it for following up, all of us following up in about 3 months. So, all right, so yeah, the first tentative question of the night for this topic, harnessing our intuitive abilities, is what is intuition? And so we have one in the back. Someone says it is our soul. What else do we have?
Isn't it like your feeling, like the feeling in the back of your head, like something that tells you something?
Yes, I agree. Hey, Cheryl. Awesome, good idea there. Yeah, I think intuition is like knowing more or less wrong, what's right, and knowing like consequences to your actions ahead of time.
Hi, Danny. Yeah, it's actually one of our senses. We have several senses. We have more than just six. That would be considered our sixth sense. Another one of our senses is empathy, believe it or not. I could pull up some of the other ones, but it's not what this is really about. But Andrew, really, you're not finished with your list? Okay. Anyway, I'll let the mic go back around.
Yeah, I think it's the sixth sense too as well. For every action, there's a reaction. Kind of like the scientific way of things. That's like when we're chasing storms, we always have a sense of, hey, we know our boundaries. We stay within our limits. We know if we go past that limit, that there's going to be consequences, whether it's a busted windshield or we could get hit by the tornado. So, and not just in the storm chasing, in the photography too, you got to know how to approach people respectfully. When you're shooting females, especially because I do modeling photography, you've got to learn to adjust, and you got to learn to talk in a different way, approach things differently than if you're going to do a family photos or weddings and things like that. So, yep.
And I might add that the consequences don't have to be necessarily negative. They can also be positive.
Oh, sorry.
Exactly, Danny. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question, so maybe you can answer me this later. I don't exactly know what empathy exactly means. I tried to look up in a dictionary. I kind of don't understand it, and I should because I'm a teacher.
Oh, by the way, and real quick, besides the five senses we're used to, sight, hearing, smell, touch, taste, we also we have a kinesthetic sense, pain, balance, vibration, various internal stimuli, such as we have different chemoreceptors for detecting salt and carbon dioxide concentrations in the blood. And then the more spiritual sense that I mentioned. And yeah.
Well, hi Cheryl, how you doing? I see intuition also as bringing your own life experiences forth and feeling a situation and the gut feeling it's sometimes called like. So I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and as you most know, like animals, a lot of animals have stronger senses of our five senses, keener sense of sight, smell, hearing. But some animals also have a sense of electrical and magnetic fields and even able to detect water pressure and currents.
Yeah, Dave, I think intuition advances with experience.
Good point. You said it better than I could.
But is there something about intuition that is outside of something we've experienced in the past? I'm wondering, like, if it's not coming from our experiences in the past, where is it coming from? What is that whispering voice, that subtle whispering voice coming from? Whatever it is for you. I mean, that's kind of what it is for me. I just have to get quiet enough to hear it,
I always thought it was like, I don't know, somebody from your past or like maybe an angel or something. I don't know. I've always been very interested in all this.
I think infants have intuition. They can read situations and grow and expand their minds probably from intuition. So yeah, it's a human thing.
I think there's different levels of intuition. I mean, of course, there's survival intuition where you automatically like know, how to survive, and then there's intuition with experience.
Exactly. Sorry, I shared photos of my new haircut and my new glasses. So,
All right, I was in a fire a few years ago, a long time ago, when my daughter was 4, and my first thing was like, as soon as I smelled the smoke, was to grab her. I didn't care about anything else and get her out. So is that kind of like intuition?
I don't know. That might be more of the survival intuition that Danny was talking about. Um, yeah, mother's intuition, I guess.
Got really quiet. Oh, my phone died.
Okay.
I think you forgot to let go of the mic there.
That was my phone, Cheryl. Zello kicked me off. That's why I did it. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not exactly a traditional believer, but there's a pretty good quote here that I found. It says, this is from Dr. Wayne Dyer, if you guys have ever heard of Wayne Dyer. He says, if prayer is you talking to God, then intuition is God talking to you.
See, that's what I always thought it was, a god or an angel, but I couldn't be sure.
Well, I mean, like, part of me feels like it's love, like this thing, this common thread. I think amongst all human beings and even animals on the planet is this sense of love, like um, just simple, plain, pure love. And I feel like when you tap into love, the intuition guides you better, so to speak. Like it's like a boomerang going out. You're being love. You're throwing out the boomerang, and when it's coming back to you, it's giving you better guidance. And I feel like intuition is like that guidance, um, that higher self that's like speaking to you. I don't know why it's such a whisper, but maybe it's meant to be a whisper so that we see that maybe we have to quiet the rest in order to hear it. If it was loud, we wouldn't have to quiet the rest of what's going on in our life, all the drama, all the unnecessary like shit. So maybe it's quiet for a reason. It,
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you were done. I mentioned last week I was going to share with you a tip that I used to really enhance my intuitive abilities. And I wasn't taking in any substances, no alcohol, no drugs, no tobacco. And I was taking something which I'm sure many of you have heard of before, is ginkgo biloba. And after a month of being clean and taking this stuff, my mental sharpness was really there, as well as my intuitive abilities. It was razor sharp, like it's never been before. So it's something to keep in mind. But there are also other vitamins, herbs, and um, mm, what's the other thing? Oh, God. just forgot it. Well, basically other supplements. Huperzine A is one of them. Bacopa Monieri. There's Alpha GPC. There's vinpocetine. There is also, it's known as PS. It's kind of hard to pronounce. It's phosphatidylserine. Sorry for butchering that. I'm sure many of you have heard of carnitine, acetyl L-carnitine, an amino acid. Also, turmeric and curcumin. And there is citicoline, as well as DHA supplements. These are great also for memory loss, mood swings, serious psychiatric disorders, Alzheimer's, stuff like that. And a lot of these things will give you a mental edge. So when you get that mental edge, it can also help with your awareness and your keenness of your intuition.
Cheryl, where can I find that list? Would it help with like MS too? Because I got some memory loss because of the MS.
This one I found at brain-supplements-mental-edge.
On the flip side of that, there's probably things that dull the senses too. Wouldn't that be true?
Oh, of course. Like any type of really any type of drug would do that. Stress, lack of sleep, all these things are going to take away your mental edge. But yeah, if you simply go to Be Brain Fit and do a search for top 10 brain supplements for mental edge, you can find it.
I appreciate it. I wrote it down. Thank you very much.
And there's other things too, other supplements, and even things that you could smell or rub on your skin, such as clary sage or breathing amber, and there's lots more. You can just do a search out there for. Let's see what would be a good search. Herbs for mental sharpness, herbs for enhancing intuition, things like that. Supplements for intuition or mental sharpness.
I'm guessing it would be mostly for mental sharpness, but intuition is something that I don't think they're going to list. I don't know if I've ever seen it listed, but then again, I don't shop in those departments that much, so I wouldn't really know. But if it does say intuition, then by all means, then that's cool. If there's actually supplement that you can take that would actually enhance your intuition, like Cheryl said, at least the ginkgo biloba seemed to be a pretty powerful one. So that's pretty cool. Does anyone else have any thoughts on what exactly is intuition and where does it come from before we kind of move along?
Yeah, I think you can actually find some if you search for herbs or supplements for intuition, but you're going to find more if you put in mental sharpness. But the ginkgo biloba is for mental sharpness, and I was taking it, and I found that my intuition was super keen. But I'm on pain medicine now, and I've noticed that it seriously dulls my intuitive abilities.
Does anybody think that a woman's intuition is stronger than a man's?
I do. It might be a social thing, but maybe women rely on it more. I don't know, but I feel that, and I don't know why I feel that, but I do.
Yeah, I kind of feel that theirs is stronger, or like you say, they rely on it a lot more, maybe.
yeah, I feel like in a woman's life, a woman will use her a lot more than a man. um, Men in their lifetime won't necessarily tune into it uh, on average as much as a woman in her life in a woman's lifetime. I don't know. I think that's fairly true, but a part of it I feel is like also just practice. You know, once you see that there's something out there that you can utilize that you didn't know before, it's partly is just practice, and maybe just women have had more practice actually using their intuition and trusting it than we have.
Well, here's one way to look at it. The males are physically stronger of the two genders, and animals, they've got that fight or flight instinct, and the more timid, weaker animals tend to use their intuition more. Whether or not hunters, they need to like run, like the rabbit runs from the fox. So I would guess that not just their other senses, but their intuition is harnessed more than, say, the fox. And so women, being the weaker gender, might also use their intuition more in that regard.
You just verbalized exactly what I was thinking.
Now you know how I feel. Because you do that a lot to me. But hey, great minds think alike.
True that. True that. They are some great minds right there. But let's see. Okay, so what about how do we access our intuition? How do we hear it better? How can we hear it better? How do we hear it clearer? Like, what can we do to get closer to that? I've heard this idea of inquiry, and it's the idea of asking a question. Um, like, where is my next job coming from or going to come from? You know, basic inquiries that maybe given enough time, your mind will chew on and spit you out an answer in the form of some intuition. So I'm wondering if anybody's had experience with that, accessing it that way, you know, kind of waking it up a little bit. The only other ones I know of is simply just getting to a place where you can hear it, like cutting out a lot of the noise in your life, whatever that means for you. You know, getting out into nature. I don't know, staring into some fire, listening, you know, meditating maybe on the sound of a water trickling stream or waterfall or something. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys all have your own ways maybe to tune in, but I'm just curious what everybody does to help that out.
Yeah, you actually brought up something I was just about to bring up. Quieting your mind, meditating, things like that. It does help. I've been able to pick up on more when things are very calm and quiet around me. Not that it has to be. I've picked up on things pretty well despite that, even if that's not going on. But yeah, it definitely helps.
For me, it's always probably exercising my creative side that makes me tune in. So writing a song, doing some woodwork, painting ceramics, creating, Christmas ornaments, that type of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because you access a different part of your brain when you're creative. Imagination, and it's I don't know exactly how that works, but it's like the same zone or closer, or access is part of the same part of your brain that your intuition comes from.
You guys know that. You probably heard this: keep calm and do this, keep calm and do that. Here's one that says keep calm and follow your heart. So yeah, it's partly, I think, just keeping calm, so that you can hear that whisper.
Hi guys, I'm back. What I missed? And yeah, all I heard was keep calm and all this. My favorite one is keep calm and never give up. Cause you should never give up. Am I right, people?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm reading something right here, and Dave, it says something right here. Just as solitude can help give rise to creative thinking, it can also help us connect to our deepest inner wisdom. That gut instinct or that hunch. Uh, Usually, it's your intuition, but people will pass it off by just saying it's a feeling or a gut instinct when it's really so much more than that, and you should really try to harness it and appreciate it for what it is, respect that.
Has anyone truly heeded all of those intuition feelings or whatever, and actually acted on all of them for any point of time in your life? And how did it go?
Oh, I've used it for sure, and yeah, I've definitely benefited from it.
See, here's the difference between what we were talking about before, male and female. And I haven't given it much thought until right now, and I'm going to give it more thought in the future.
Yeah, this thing I'm reading, it's like 10, what is it? 10 things highly intuitive people do differently. Um, let's see, where was I? Sorry. I'm sorry. If you want to get in touch with your intuition, a little more alone time may be the most effective way. Just as solitude can help give rise to creative thinking, it can also help us connect to our deepest inner wisdom. Intuitive people are often introverted, but whether you're an introvert or not, taking time for solitude can help you engage in deeper thought and reconnect with yourself. You have to be able to have a little bit of solitude, a little bit of silence. In the middle of craziness, you can't recognize intuition above all the noise of everyday life. Creativity does its best work when it functions intuitively, writes a researcher. In fact, creative people are highly intuitive, and just as you can increase your creativity through practice, you can boost your intuition. In fact, practicing one may build up the other. That's just one of the tips.
That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome.
Hey, David, I'm back again. Just had to deal with my own issues, so yep, I'm back. Hey, what's up, Cheryl?
Hello.
Hey, welcome back, brother. I'm glad you decided to check back in with us here. That's awesome. We are talking about harnessing our intuitive abilities. So any thoughts you have about intuition, how it works for you, talking about how to access it, kind of like how do you hear it better.
Welcome back, Anthony, my favorite mind encyclopedia here on this channel. I think you could contribute a lot to this discussion.
Well, since the mic is free, I'm going to move on to the other tip here. Intuitive people observe everything. The first thing to do is notice. Keep a little journal and notice when odd things happen. You'll gain a keen sense for how often coincidences, surprising connections, and on-the-dot intuitions occur in your daily life. In other words, you'll start to tap into your intuition. Next, they listen to their bodies. Intuitive people learn to tune into their bodies and heed their gut feelings, quote unquote. If you've ever started feeling sick to your stomach when you knew something was wrong but couldn't put your finger on what, you understand that your intuitions can cause a physical sensation in the body. Our gut feelings are called gut feelings for a reason. There you go. Research suggests that emotion and intuition are very much rooted in the second brain, quote unquote, of the gut. Yeah, that reminds me of, like I might have mentioned to some of you, I'm an empath, and I've been able to feel other people's emotional and physical pain. It used to affect me more, like feeling very sad or even feeling their pain. But I've worked on that and been able to make it where it doesn't affect me as much. But I've felt people's, like, I'll give you an example. It really tripped somebody out one day. I was a bartender and I was working, and happy hour came around. Another bartender came in to work that shift with me. And within 5 minutes, I said, "Hold out your hand." And I poured a couple Tylenols into his hand, and he looked at him and looked at me and kind of shrugged. And I said, "Take these. Your headache is bothering me." And he's like, how did you know? I'm like, "Just take them. Your headache's bothering me." And it was. I felt his headache. I knew it wasn't mine. And they worked, of course, and I felt better, and so did he.
I have this feeling that there are people in the world that have been using their intuition and trusting it and getting better at trusting it and getting better at working with it for so long that they literally, without even speaking to you, they stand out as someone who's definitely different. And I don't know how to put a finger on it, but I feel like these people are walking amongst us, and I feel like they've figured out how to use like the magic that is within us as human beings, that thing that most of us haven't tapped into. They've got it. Like they're like in the Matrix when it comes to that. And it's crazy. And I think it's like any skill. I think we can all get there in a sense someday. We just have to keep, exercising that muscle, testing it like Cheryl did. Here's some aspirin. Your headache's bothering me. Like kind of sensing the way people are feeling and tuning into that, and maybe striking up a conversation. Hey, do you want to talk? Sensing that that something's off and that you could help. There are so many more examples. I haven't been taking notes every time an intuition occurrence happens in my life, but it happens. I know you guys have all had your experiences. Maybe some of them you remember, you could share. I don't know. Might be a little hard to remember and share right in this moment, but if anybody thinks of one, then by all means share an example.
I always simply call it wearing somebody else's shoes, putting yourself in their shoes. If you do that with everybody you bump into, it's a better life.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Andrew. Is that we all have it, and we've all used it, whether or not we knew we did or we wrote it off as something else. But we all have intuition. Some of us have a better gift. Others have recognized their gift, even if it's not stronger than the average person, but they have an interest in it. They know it's there, they recognize it, and they work on it. So we can all work on it, and harnessing it better and using it in our lives better to improve our lives. My mic got away. Yeah, to improve our lives, avoid hairy situations, and just have better experiences overall.
Like my obvious experience with intuition that happens a lot, and you guys have probably experienced this too. Maybe you didn't trust in it quite as much as I do these days, but it's this idea of like you sense that a certain person is going to communicate with you somehow. You're not sure how. Might come in a phone call, might come in a text message, it might come as an email or some social media contact or something. Whatever it might be, they like a post of yours or something, or they post something and they comment on something. Hey, have you been, or whatever. Who knows? But it's that sense that something is about to happen. I feel like we're not only putting that energy out there in that thought for those people to pick up on, but also there's this timing situation with people and humanity. Like if you're connected to a person or a relationship in a certain way, you're vibrating on like that same frequency in a certain way that like it's about that time where you would connect or reconnect with each other. And so you just sense within a couple of days or soon or something, you just have this feeling it's going to happen. And whether you initiate it or not, it tends to happen. And like I'm not surprised these days anymore. I used to like crack up and be like, you know, kind of chuckle and laugh about it. Like, no, that didn't just happen. But now I'm like, oh, of course it did. You know, it was weird. It's weird. But it can happen. It happens. Like it's just like any skill. You just get better. It's weird.
I don't think anyone can deny that's ever happened to them. I know it has. You know, we usually just think, oh, it's just a coincidence, but it does. It happens to us all. We think of somebody, and moments later, you know, 15 minutes later, could be 2 hours later, they're contacting us. Or they've thought of us, and 5 minutes later, we call them. They're like, I just thought of you 5 minutes ago. I haven't even thought of you in 3 weeks, and you know, here you are calling, or whatever it is. It happens. It does. You guys all know it's true.
Yeah, we like to put it off and pretend like it doesn't really, like it didn't really happen, or it doesn't really exist, or that, you know, like, oh, that's just a coincidence. Like, I hate that word. Oh, it's just a coincidence. Yeah, I mean, you can believe that as long as you want. You know, it was just a coincidence. But when you really get down to it, and you've experienced it enough times to where you're like, it can't be a coincidence that many times, that often, or whatever. You know, that's weird.
Well, it kind of fits in with my personality, my sense of intuition, because I like to sit down and talk with people and get to know people and achieve a greater amount of friends, and that will actually like me to keep them as friends and such, and stay in contact. I sit down next to people on the Greyhound, and we strike up a conversation and everything, and I brighten their day, they brighten mine, and it's just one of those things I see as my intuition of that. But other than that, I getting those rot gut hard feelings that something might not be as it seems. I don't seem to get those nearly as much as I should, and so I'm lacking in that part of the intuition aspect.
Well, while we're on that topic, another of the things highly intuitive people do is they connect deeply with others. Mind reading may seem like the stuff of fantasy and pseudoscience, but it's actually something we do every day. It's called empathic accuracy, a term in psychology that refers to the... Where is my mic going? I don't know. Maybe interested users are keying up. I muted him this time. Okay, it's called empathic accuracy, a term in psychology that refers to the seemingly magical ability to map someone's mental terrain from their words, emotions, and body language. When you see a spider crawling up someone's leg, you feel a creepy sensation. Similarly, when you observe someone reach out to a friend and they are pushed away, your brain registers the sensation of rejection. When you watch your team win or a couple embrace on TV, you feel their emotions as if you were there. Social emotions like guilt, shame, pride, embarrassment, disgust, and lust can all be experienced by watching others. Tuning into your own emotions and spending time both observing and listening to others face to face can help boost your powers of empathy. Okay, that explains what I have, what seems to me like mind reading.
The other thing that I've heard of that's basically the same as that is something called mirror neurons. That when someone else feels pain and suffering, so do we. When someone else is angry, it triggers anger in ourselves, that side of us. So it's like when there's an angry uh, conversation and it gets heated, it's like each person's anger is just fueling the mirror neurons in the other person to mirror that same energy. And it's like, oh, we need to shift it to something else that's not that or whatever. Yeah, we literally can feel people. Yeah, just like I say, through the TV, you cry, or you feel sad, or you feel excited, or whatever when you watch a movie. But yet, that's just like light, flickering light on the screen. That's not; those aren't real people in front of you. But yet, for a movie, you're gonna feel as if you felt that person's, and it's not even a real person in front of you. But it's as if you felt that emotion. It's crazy. Yeah, mirror neurons is mirror.
Oh, sorry.
That's cool, man. I was just trying to say hello to anybody that was here. So, yep, it's cool.
David. What's up, guys? Roman checking in. How's everybody doing?
All right. Hi, Roman, and to the fellow who just keyed up. Yeah, hello back to you. We're doing a program here, Sailor, that we do every Tuesday discussion. Tonight's topic is on harnessing our intuitive abilities.
I was just going to speak to, I think there are direct lines of communication, almost like telephone lines, between some close siblings. My wife and her sister have that connection, and it's almost eerie, where they're, 1,500 miles away from each other, but there's still this line that connects them so closely that they feel each other's feelings. It's strange, and I think I have a bit of that with one of my brothers. I don't know if that's intuition. I don't know, where it comes from. There, but it's this close thing that connects them.
I have that more with my sister than anybody. It's pretty amazing stuff.
I really think we're all like freaking sorcerers. We have magic within us, and I think the source of that magic is our intuition. It's like to the extent that we can tap into that and trust it and follow it is how the extent that we're creating like magical, awesome things happening in our lives. I don't know. It's just like I'm learning myself to tune into it more and more and trust it more and more. And every time I do trust it more, and it just works in my favor. It literally like the right things come to me when I'm following my intuition. It's just like it may be a little fearful to like go towards a certain like your intuition is saying something, and it might be fearful. That's not always a bad thing. It's not always like, oh, I'm supposed to avoid to not do this so I don't get eaten by that lion. But it's also like kind of like a different kind of fear, but it results in like, I know I need to do this for myself or whatever, and then you get through it, and then at the other end you're feeling good because you've just changed. You've changed a whole I don't know, environment or situation in your life, and now it's better. So it's like, I don't know. Has anyone experienced anything like that?
Well, here's something you'll find interesting. Back to the thing about my sister. I many years ago thought up like three little things to practice with on intuition. And one of the things I thought up was to close my eyes, put my palms out, both palms out, and ask the room of people for just any one of them to come up and put one hand in front of one of my hands and see if I would, A, sense there was a hand there, B, who it was, and C, which hand it was. And one person came up and put his hand in front of mine. I didn't even know he was there. But when my sister came up, I immediately, I knew, oh, my left hand, it's my sister. Knew she was there.
I guess you could say something. I have something like that going on with my brother.
What did he say? It cut out.
Yeah, it cut out everywhere here too.
Okay, hon, you want to take the mic and repeat that, please?
Hi, this is Sassy Mama, and I'm here for your the intuitive feelings. I'm at the nursing home. I wanted to let my mom hear, and I do have my bucket list, but I wanted to be a part of tonight's event.
Hi, Tracy. Yeah, we're going to do that in a little while. Okay, yeah, we had the mic open for that fellow to repeat, but he didn't take it. All right, I'm going to read another thing. Highly intuitive people also pay attention to their dreams. Yeah, their dreams, those silly things made up of what appears to be nonsense. Someone recommends paying attention to your dreams as a way to get in touch with your mind's unconscious thinking processes. Both dreams and intuition spring from the unconscious, so you can begin to tap into this part of your mind by paying attention to your dreams. At night when you're dreaming, you're receiving information from the unconscious or intuitive part of your brain. If you're attuned to your dreams, you can get a lot of information about how to live your life.
That is so spot on. Like, I've had woken up from dreams. I've remembered some of the dreams, and I've been thinking, I can actually put a finger on, like, what was that dream trying to tell me? And it was literally relevant to my life. Yes, it was in a different, like, form, different shapes, different people, maybe even, but, like, it was relevant to my life. It's crazy. You got a good point. But, I mean, does it mention anything there about how to, encourage yourself to have more dreams or something, to try to have more dreams? You have to sleep longer or what? Anyway, by the way, hi Tracy, Sassy Mama, Honey Boo Boo. How you doing? Glad you're here with us.
No, it doesn't mention that, but I actually make these herb-filled dream pillows of herbs, flowers, spices, and some of them have different effects. Some of them can enhance your dreams, make it where you can remember your dreams better, a deeper, more restful sleep, chase away nightmares. So something like that might help. It could be as simple as spraying a little something on your pillow, having a dream pillow, rubbing a little oil with a carrier oil on your temples, etc.
May I share a story about dreams at this time?
I think if it relates to the topic, yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I have flying dreams where I actually kick my feet off the ground and I flap my wings and I fly like a bird and I fly over trees, over houses. It's the most incredible thing I think I've ever experienced in dreams. And then when I come to a landing, it's always a very soft landing. I don't know how any other way to describe it.
I have a very similar dream, only I don't flap my wings, I just rise. But I never do land. I never finish the dream. But I can see the tops of the houses and trees. I think that's a common one, Tracy.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think we've all had that, but like, has any of us ever had wings before? I never have, and I can't remember ever landing either, but I can remember losing altitude, I guess because maybe I wasn't in as deep of a sleep or something, and I kind of struggle to keep that altitude.
What are we talking about? Lucid dreaming?
We're talking about intuition.
What's really funny about intuition, feelings and everything, I can never be embarrassed, and that's a good quality aspect. But as for dreams, I dream about my family quite often, especially the ones in the South, and about the people to be met on the buses and everything, and how I can help some of them out and everything. So that's my dreams mostly, and helping out everybody and uh, creating massive amounts of programming and everything as well. That's what I dream about a lot.
Yeah, flying dreams are actually one of the top 10 themes reported by dreamers. And it may symbolize feeling high, being happy in general, or feeling good about something specific in your waking life.
I also, when my brother passed away, I've had many dreams where he has been in the dream, and all my family would be like it was no big deal, and I would be like overwhelmed with joy, and I would try to talk to him, and he would never say anything. He'd always just have this big smile. And one time I got him to speak, and he said, "Well, tell Dad I've been trying to get a hold of him." So I make connection with family. He was only 2 years younger than me when he passed.
I think we're getting a little off topic, but I think this kind of grounds it. It brings it back to the intuition. Anthony said that he never feels embarrassment. I think my intuition makes me feel embarrassment when someone else is embarrassed. I'll hear somebody say something to somebody on this channel, and then I will feel their embarrassment. So I actually really physically feel embarrassed.
Hmm. And the flying dreams can also represent freedom. They may occur when you need to leave a situation or after you've moved on from something. They can be about living life by your own rules. But anyway, let me read on something else here. Highly intuitive people also enjoy plenty of downtime. Few things stifle intuition as easily as constant busyness, multitasking, connectivity to digital devices, and stress and burnout. According to Huffington, we always have an intuitive sense about the people in our lives on a deep level. We know the good ones from the flatterers and dissemblers, but we're not always awake enough to our intuition to acknowledge the difference to ourselves. The problem is that we're simply too busy. We always get warnings from our heart and our intuition when they appear, but we are often too busy to notice.
I just came in, I guess, late on the topic, and I apologize. I've just been very busy, but I would like to say on an intuitive level, I believe that sometimes when I hear people's voices or look into their eyes, you can read a lot about people, even if you've only known them for a short period of time. For me, anyway.
So true. And let me just say something really quick for those who don't know. If you've ever missed an Our Healing Choices topic in part or in full, you can get caught up. At least the last about 16 of them. Quickest way to get there is just go to YouTube and type in Our Healing Choices, and you'll get the playlist, and you can listen.
Hey, I do have a question though, going back to dreams and relating to intuition. I keep having dreams of like me driving like some super fast car. It's either a Dodge Viper ACR or it's like a Dodge Viper or a Porsche Carrera GT, and I'm driving it through like these crazy mountain roads and going pretty fast, and that's something.
Oh, you cut off there at the end. But that reminds me of an experience I had, which I'll share. But I don't want to hog the mic.
I have this question. How do you test your intuition? And one of the things that I was thinking that I want to do more of, I feel like I've done it a couple times and been right. I don't remember any specific examples, and I probably should, but this idea that you just meet someone or you notice someone talking to somebody only for a few moments, and you somehow, like, you feel like you know this person, you know their life situation, you can literally read like what they're all about and what they're going through, whether they spoke or whether they even spoke for just a few moments. Has anyone else like wanted to like just approach them and see if you were right about what you were thinking about this person?
I feel you.
Okay. Well, we didn't get a lot of response on that, so let's let people think about that. And meanwhile, I'm going to share this experience that I had. This guy I was dating was having a party, and he invited a friend, a guy who invited over a guy friend. I invited a girl who invited a girlfriend. And that guy friend of a friend and the girlfriend of a friend, they ended up later on in the party taking off together, going for a drive. And they left, and we were wondering what happened to them. Time had slipped by and we heard nothing. Well, it was getting late, and I went and I took a nap, and I had this dream that I was in a passenger seat and the car was going really fast. I wanted to get out, but the driver wouldn't let me get out. We came around a sharp turn and at a very high speed and got in a crash, really bad crash. Right then I was woken up, and I already knew what I was going to hear. Exactly what I had just dreamed of had happened to those two people in the car, and she was terribly hurt, and she was fearful. From what I understand, the guy wouldn't slow down. He wouldn't let her get out of the car, and bad accident was a result of that, of his recklessness.
Holy moly, that's unbelievable. That's a story for Brian's show.
Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, it was terrifying. The dream was terrifying, and when I woke up, it's like I already knew. You don't have to tell me what happened. It was like I was there in the passenger seat.
I would just like to say that every time Andrew speaks up, I hear absolutely nothing, but I hear everybody else. So I don't know.
Check that you don't have Andrew muted. You may have him muted.
Yeah, that's probably the case. Just click on his profile, make sure the mute button isn't clicked on.
And just throwing this out there, because you said it sounds like something that would be on Brian's show. I don't think that would really sound something paranormal. Maybe elusive, where you're actually experiencing it firsthand while being asleep, or you know.
Well, even psychic experiences can be in the paranormal realm.
And can they also be in this realm that we're discussing tonight? When I was a little girl, I had this feeling, and I got up and looked out the window, and I could see like a soldier standing across the street, but he was transparent. And I was little, and so I kept peeking out the windows from all different angles, thinking that it was just me, but I still kept seeing him. There was a huge war down in the at the San Jacinto Monument, in the 1800s. In April. And so I finally got the nerve up to go tell my mother, and she said, "Go back to bed." Well, the next thing I know, she's called the police. So she saw it as well. And the police came and they drove around and they couldn't see anything. And I sat there and saw this entity the entire time that they were driving around.
That's pretty wild. But, as children, we have those abilities much stronger than we do as adults, unless we work on it. it's a natural ability, but we have adults around us going, oh no, that's just your imagination, and oh no, you don't really have a friend. When you have this like alleged imaginary friend, it could be, a spirit talking to you, or whatever it is. See auras and stuff like that, like animals do. But it gets downplayed, and we're trained not to see it unless we have a family who's actually supportive of it. Then we can actually expand on it.
Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry. I did not mean to cut you off. What's going on, everybody? It's the sheriff. I'm sorry. Proceed.
Do you think, Cheryl, that those types of intuitions were counted on much more in our past, and when, like I'm saying, like cavemen days and stuff like that, when we were more primitive? Do you think that we relied more on the intuitions and maybe developed them a little more?
Well, back then it probably wasn't written off like it is these days, unless you're in a special family, like I had mentioned, where they encourage it and help you harness it. So yeah, most likely, yeah, it was used more, our intuition and stuff. And animals are never told, oh no, that's just your overactive imagination, and oh, you don't really see that, no, it doesn't exist, and oh, it's nothing. So animals can see spirits, they can sense things more, people's auras and otherworldly things, and all these other, all these other things. They have that ability, and they don't write it off, and so they don't lose it.
I was told that like babies have psychic abilities, like when they talk and they have intuition when they're like talking in their sleep and everything, and smile in their sleep. It's actually like their abilities.
Well, like I said, it's very normal when we're younger, and it usually fades, and it's usually not because we want it to. It's just society's rules that do that, and it often starts with our parents going, oh, that's nothing. Oh, our child has an active imagination, stuff like that. Unless we're lucky enough to be born into a family that embraces those abilities.
I think throughout life, like for example, I like to be very intuitive with nature, and when I go to the hill country, I'll sit and study the deer for over an hour or two, and their behaviors and how they move, with the bucks in the front and the grandfather in the back, and even your animals like your cats and your dogs. I mean, they can hear things that we could never possibly hear. So I rely on their instincts to keep mine more clear and focused.
I have a friend who was out in the woods taking a hike, and he thought he saw an animal, and he looked back, and then it was gone. And he looked it up. He said it was like a spirit guide.
Cool. Well, it brings me back to that last thing I read about enjoying plenty of downtime, connecting with quietness and nature and all that. Here's the next tip. Intuitive people mindfully let go of negative emotions. Strong emotions, particularly negative ones, can cloud our intuition. Many of us know that we feel out of sorts or not ourselves when we're upset, and it may be because we're disconnected from our intuition. When you're very depressed, you may find your intuition fails. When you're angry or in a heightened emotional state, your intuition can fail you completely. The evidence isn't just anecdotal. A 2013 study published in the journal Psychological Science showed that being in a positive mood boosted the ability to make intuitive judgments in a word game. That's not to say that intuitive people never get upset, but your intuition will fare better if you're able to mindfully accept and let go of negative emotions for the most part, rather than suppressing or dwelling on them.
Actually, you're completely correct on that.
I as well agree. I mean, sometimes I tend to hold on for a little bit, but I'm the kind of person that once I say what I need to say, I'm done. It's over. I move forward.
That's good, because those emotions will hold you back, and not just in the intuitive sense, in other ways too.
It's a really good study point there, Cheryl.
A lot of people, when they do get their intuitiveness, is usually in their sleeping state.
Yeah, that was another thing that I had read, and in a creative state as well.
I've probably said this before, but I think where I get my best intuition about things I need to be doing with my life, this, that, and the other, is when I'm driving, believe it or not. Not in the city, but like once in a while I take some long trips to either San Diego, let's say, or Las Vegas. And those are...
You lost your mic. That must be a serene place for you.
These crazy mics keep dropping. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I was just saying that when you're driving long distance, I'm gonna just watch the mic. I was looking away and apparently lost it. But anyway, when you're driving long distance, think about when you're at home, you could be watching TV, which is a distraction, which basically keeps us from our intuition because it's information coming in, and also computers and cell phones or whatever. They distract us from our intuition, from really listening to like, what is my soul telling me to do or be or work on or whatever. That's a total distraction. When you're driving, especially at night, when you have like a blank canvas, and when you have to stay awake, you don't have a distraction of a cell phone, a computer, a tablet, an iPad, none of this stuff, a TV, none of that stuff can distract you, especially when you're driving alone or with someone who doesn't talk a lot. You have a good chance to really, it's almost like a meditative state, and it really allows you for those things to come in, those things that your intuition is trying to tell you. And it's even better if you have one of those like dashboard, like a notepad that you can kind of write your thoughts as you're driving. By the time you get to your destination, you will have a whole plan of what you need to do coming up in your life, whatever it might be. So I revel in my trips to Vegas and any faraway place. I love driving long distance. It's great.
You mentioned writing this stuff down when you're driving. No, like when do you do that when you're driving, or do you dictate it into something?
Oh, caveat, yes. I was just suggesting that if you didn't have a way to dictate, that you should have a notepad that's like kind of attached to your dashboard or to your events. They sell them. I know you can buy them. I didn't buy it because I knew I could dictate and I could put it into my note-taking app in my phone and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, if you have a basic thought, a quick thought, or just a reminder of something, you could just write a word even on a notepad while you're driving long distance, and that's plenty good for remembering everything that you were thinking at the time. Usually, it's not too much of a distraction. Hey, especially like come on Vegas, like 9 times out of 10, it's straight. You can almost drive with your eyes closed, almost.
Yeah, I have a story of something that happened in Vegas. I was in a room at it was at the Luxor. I was in there alone. It was very quiet, and I could sense, I guess it was the energies. I could sense some things that had happened in that room before. And there were a couple of indicators that I was right about what I saw. Like one thing I saw was some people, some young, you know, like college age kids who got drunk, and one of them threw a beer bottle at somebody. And I went and I looked at a picture right where I saw the beer bottle hit, and there was a notch in a picture frame that looked like just like a beer bottle had hit it. Another thing is this. I didn't really actually sense anything that had previously happened, but I sensed that there was a remote control in a sofa, and I put my hand exactly where I saw it. I reached into the sofa, and there was a remote control right there where I sensed it would be. It had since been replaced, but you know, I pulled it out and put it up by the TV. And then there was a couple other things I had seen in there too. Actually, 3 other things. It's really weird though, I mean, because it was like really sharp that day, and I didn't really understand why, because to see like that many things in one room in such a short time was pretty phenomenal.
Andrew, speaking to what you were talking about, you know, that when you drive, you meditate. And that's one of the reasons why I believe that scheduled meditation can be less effective than meditating when the time is there. You know, when it comes naturally. Sometimes scheduled meditation can be forced, and you never really get to that place you want to get in your mind. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, driving is a good time to harness that because we're alone with our thoughts and we have nothing else that we have to do. Nothing else going on, just the road and our thoughts.
Another thing I always notice is that when I'm driving, even like if I'm speeding up and going as fast as I can, in fact, that's when it happens most, is the faster I go, the more at one do I feel with my car. And it's so weird. I can be driving like a crazy fast car with a crazy road with all sorts of turns and everything, and then somebody can look at it like on like a YouTube video or something like that, if I were to ever upload a YouTube video of my driving, and they'll say, holy crap, you're good at driving. And it's just, it's amazing feeling that type of thing go on.
You know, I've heard of that as like people tend to go and do very kind of risky things to get, and I think the real goal there is to get in the moment, to get out of our head and in the moment. We tend to do these things that are like, I don't know, like rock climbing or driving fast. It is so much of a sense of like, I have to be so much in this very moment. I mean, if I miss like a half second of paying attention to my driving, I'm off the road. Or if I miss a half second, I think about like something that happened last week while I'm grabbing for some rock and I miss, that could be, you know, disaster. It's like the idea that you don't have to do that to get in that meditative state of being right here, right now, and out of your monkey mind. You know, and that's, I believe, that's mostly like meditation and mindfulness, if anybody wants to look it up. But yeah, we don't need to do those crazy things. I mean, it's great. It gives us, it does do that. It does give us that feeling that we are there in that moment. I feel so much in the present moment, and I'm one with my, like you said, one with your car. It's a great feeling, and with the road. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to put yourself in that situations, let's say, potentially risky to get that same feeling.
Here's something about intuition. It's a skill, not a gift. Contrary to popular opinion, it doesn't just come naturally to some people and not others. Intuition is a skill that we learn, and we can get better at it the more we practice. According to Professor Massimo Pugliucci, in his book Answers for Aristotle, There is no such thing as an intuitive person. Rather, intuition is domain specific, meaning that we can be super intuitive in one specific field, like sports or stock investments, and be totally clueless about everything else.
Oh, that's so interesting. That's great.
Yeah, great find, Cheryl.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like that, I used to be a horrible driver, but over the years of driving, like since I was like 8, I started driving, and it was in my great aunt's 1969 Impala SS. When I first started driving that, I was horrible at it. But then as I kept driving it up until like the age 12, when I reached 12 years old, I noticed like, holy crap, I am getting really, really good at this. And now I am just out. I know everything about driving now, basically. And it's so amazing knowing how much I know of driving and what can happen and what's going on and the exact feeling of the cars and everything like that. It's phenomenal.
Hey, I'm just new to the group. Ring of Fire, thanks for adding me in.
Hi there, welcome.
Driving is cool. It's fairly relevant to what we're talking about. It's getting into that, well, I would say oneness, like with the road, and maybe it's not exactly the topic, but I don't know. It's getting into the present moment, and that's pretty important to hearing your intuition. If you're thinking too much about all that's going on with your life, and this person should have done that, this person should have done that, I wish I should have done that, blah, 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 you're not in this moment. So if driving does it for him, great. But yeah, I agree. All right, so what else? Question I thought that might be good for this is like, what is our intuition currently saying to us? You know, there's one thing about an intuition, like, oh, there's something might go wrong, or something like this. But what about the intuition that speaks to us and tells us something that we should be doing? So I wonder if anybody has anything that their intuition has been calling them to do that they'd like to share.
Yeah, well, I'm about to retire from the military, so I'm looking for a job and all that stuff, and my intuition is telling me to not worry about a job right now, to just travel and find something totally different to do. Maybe even reconnect with family for a while before moving on.
Might be a good idea. Yeah, think about it. What makes sense? Use your intuition as well. I found something here which kind of relates to what David was asking about the cavemen, and also my theory on the fight or flight thing with the animals, which kind of related to the fairer sex and humans. Here it is. Intuition is an innate part of us. It goes back to our caveman days. They relied on their intuition for survival, so they didn't get eaten or attacked. Although we have intuition, we tend to listen to to others, not ourselves, so we lose the ability to trust ourselves. Society has beaten this ability out of us, and we really fear our intuition.
That's another spot on find.
I also think it's not monetarily advantageous for them to promote intuition.
Right, right. It's very good to trust your instincts and follow your intuition. A higher mind knows more than you and wants to guide you, And our dreams will guide us too.
This thing that you said, we listen to others, not ourselves. So basically, our intuition is trained out of us. We believe others' intuition about what we want to do, let's say, and we don't trust our own. And it's like, wait, what? We always seek to get advice, right? That is what I'm feeling like. We're always seeking to get advice about this, about that, what it's doing is disempowering us to listen to our own intuition about what's the right thing to do. And we're like basically disempowering ourselves every time we ask someone else, what is your thought on this or whatever. And it helps, but for the most part, it's like it seems like it's counterintuitive or not helping us tune our intuitive ability.
Right. Well, Andrew, it's not usually it's others' intuition we're listening to, but you're right. It disempowers us because we're not listening to that inner voice. What really does know best. We're listening to the opinions of others, the experience of others, the fears of others, and taking that advice. And we want this this acceptance, this acknowledgement that we're making right choices. And then if we take this advice and not listen to our own instincts, our own logic, our own intuition, then we end up often making poorer choices and not the best ones, and totally ignoring our own abilities that are built in there for us to help us make better choices, best choices, the right choices.
I just want to say something that might sound really weird, but I think our pets are really good at intuition. I think we could take pointers from them. They're always figuring things out by use of intuition, I believe.
Oh, you ever watch an animal like a cat? The eyes are always looking around, the ears always twitching. They're always thinking, they're always on hyper alert, always picking up on everything around them.
That is very true. Even though I don't have pets, I've seen cats. They're sneaky.
My dog knows when I'm not paying attention to where he is if I'm walking, and he'll step aside because he thinks I might step on him. So that's an intuitive thing, I think.
Very spot on. You know, there's a saying that says, well, if like your dog doesn't like somebody, then I don't like you either. I know it's been said a lot more recently, but I can totally see where you're going with that too. Like if a dog doesn't like somebody based on how they are, based on how they act around them, then I could totally understand like the intuition being learning intuition from watching their reactions too, based on how the other people are.
Yeah, I think dogs especially can pick up on the fear of other people. So if it's a person who is very fearful, it's probably someone you don't want in your life. If it's a person that is all about love and is just exudes love, like, and lack of fear, the opposite of fear, I think dogs sense that too. So the good people are the ones that aren't afraid of the dog and are giving the dogs love, versus they're afraid of the dogs and they think the worst is going to happen to them because it's a dog. It's got teeth. You know.
Yeah, I mean, is it a good thing that if dogs like me? Because my ex-girlfriend, she had a dog, and from what I heard, that her dog and her cats don't take lightly to people. And then her dog came up to me, sat on my lap, wanted to play with me and her cats. Like they both fell asleep on me.
I think sometimes, especially with dogs, they'll get nervous if the owner is nervous. I know I've been to some people's houses and they say, my dog is racist." No, actually, you're nervous around other people, and that's probably making your dog nervous, and that's more likely the cause of your dog acting a certain way. Um,
I used to be afraid of dogs when I was younger. As I got older, started working with dogs more, that kind of went away, and a lot of people are um, surprised at how well their dog acts around me.
Yeah, the struggle is real. Am I right, people? I mean, you never know. So you will be accepted. You know, it's kind of like life. You're accepted sometimes, you're not, and sometimes you're not accepted. Thank God, mostly I've been accepted.
Well, the irony there is that the one common denominator in every situation where you would be either accepted or not, if you know common denominator, the common denominator is the thing that's always there essentially, and that would be you. So we do have a definite factor on whether we are accepted or not, and it's how we come into the situation. What mindset do we have when we go into a situation, regardless of what it is or who we're with or whatever? What is our mindset going in? Were we bringing some like, rough argument from with our parents into that situation, or did we let that go and we were open to possibilities of meeting new people and whatever it might be? It's crazy.
Here's a tip. Release your resistance. Don't call yourself crazy when you get an intuitive hunch. Often, the cognitive mind argues with intuition rather than trusting it. By doing this, you may rationalize yourself out of intuitive knowing that could save your life.
Oh, that's a good thought. With the dog, once again, or the pet, um, whether they're picking it up from their master or they're picking it up from the guest, it's still intuition. Animals are really in tune with intuition, so they rely on it. They depend on it.
I would say a lot of our domesticated animals are a lot of what they're reading is short-term intuition, like whether a person, even culturally, if they're doing the same thing as a person. I think we give them a little too much credit. They definitely notice things we don't, but the context may be off.
Here's something that I was talking about earlier. Everyone has intuitive potential, men and women. It is a natural talent that everyone possesses. It is not something special, limited to only a few gifted individuals. As a child, and here's what I was talking about, you freely accessed your intuition. Unfortunately, over time, you likely received negative feedback from your peers, teachers, or family. You likely began to doubt your intuitive voice and shut down this channel of information. The good news is that with a little patience and practice, you can strengthen and hone your intuition to create a valuable guidance system. The first and most important thing that you can do to develop your intuition is to acknowledge and honor the intuitive messages that you are currently getting. Your intuitive voice is still there. You just need to tune into it. Start paying attention to and trusting those little hunches or gut feelings that you have. If you did nothing more than start honoring your intuitive impulses, you would find a dramatic improvement in your intuitive abilities.
Wow, thank you all for this program. This is chalked up as the best one I've been involved with. I love it.
Yeah, I was pretty psyched about, no pun intended, about this topic. Rather enthusiastic and looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure, I was too. Cheryl, if you could do us all a favor and share somehow that document or whatever you've been reading from recently. Um, I don't know if it's like if you've been reading it all from one source, or if this most recent source is something different. But whatever you've been reading in the last like half hour or so seems to be very, very spot on, and I'd love to read more of it after the program. But yeah, this whole idea of, can we really trust our intuition? When can we trust our intuition? All the time, or only in certain situations? And how can we do that? How can we trust our intuition more. And I think you mentioned something. I'd love for you to reread it. The thing about the resistance, or what is it? Not resisting it. That was a good passage, or whatever.
Yeah, Andrew, only that one page that I mentioned. I mean, I read most or all that was on that one page, but the rest have just been little bits and pieces that I've taken here and there. But here's another one that is rather similar to that first page that I just read those 2 paragraphs from. And it is actually from beliefnet.com, the one that I had previously mentioned. Like last week, about where you can answer, I think, 20 questions, and it'll tell you what religions or belief systems your beliefs are most closely aligned with. This article is 6 ways to strengthen your intuition. Like I said, I only read 2 paragraphs, but it has, well, 6 ways, and I could read more of that, or some or all of those 6 ways, whenever, tonight.
I say all the time, Andrew, to answer your question. It's my religion. The mind is my religion.
Yeah, but yeah, real quick, most of these things are things that I already read on that one page. Clearing your mind, meditation, imagery, dreams, affirmations, and lastly, continue to next page, practice. There we go. Yeah, I could read the practice one because that wasn't mentioned. I could read the practice one because that wasn't mentioned on that one page.
No, you mentioned something about not resisting it, or I didn't get that completely. Like I was looking at something else, looking up for what to the questions for kind of progress on the topic here. But yeah, what was that part of? Was that, I'm assuming it was a part of the same page, same 6 ways.
Yeah, it was the opening 2 paragraphs to the 6 ways. I hadn't read any of the 6 ways, but yeah, it's on that page I just mentioned.
Sorry about that earlier, Cheryl. A while back, I posted a picture of a book called Psychic Intelligence: How to Tune Into and Discover Your Intuition, the Power of Your Intuition, by the psychic twins, Terry and Linda Jamerson. That's something that you should probably really look into. They're highly documented, and they predicted the Twin Towers 2 years before it happened, up to the time it was going to happen. The Boston bombings, everything. So if you really want a good book to teach you how to use your intuition and other psychic abilities, that's a good book too.
So intuition is basically a way to see our future. Is it our future? And I mean, in those cases, it was other people's future as well. But like, I feel like it is also telling us, in a way, it knows the future. Has anyone else sensed that about intuition?
Yeah, well, I've sensed the past. I've also sensed the future. Most of the stuff has been very trivial stuff, but I sensed that accident that was about 4 or 5 minutes up the road. That's a bigger thing in the future.
To me, intuition is an umbrella term for any clear cognitive messages that we get. That's just my personal definition of it. There are several branches of psychic abilities. There's clairsentient, claircognizant, clairaudient, and clairvoyance. And usually that sense of just knowing it's going to happen is what's called claircognizant, and it's a form of intuition.
Yeah, and a lot of this just comes from our own inner voices, inner wisdom, little feelings, but others believe that they could be from our angel guides and guardian angels and stuff like that. some of this information. So I guess that's up to you to determine where it comes from. But who cares as long as you get it and it helps you out.
I don't think it's necessarily for past or future or anything. I think intuition is a sense to sense the truth. That's what I think it is. That's how I see it.
What, like the truth of who you are? Like the truth of what? Like I'm wondering how you're thinking about it in that way.
The truth of the moment, what's real around you, whether it be a person's personality, whether it be assessing a certain situation. That's where I think, well, that's where I use intuition.
All right, shall I read this thing about practice?
That's awesome, David. It's just great. It's this, like I say, it's this mysterious, magical thing that comes from somewhere that we all have, and we all use it in different ways. And it's just, I think it's one of the coolest things that we could potentially come across in our lives, is this idea of intuition and exploring it. You know. Yeah, by all means, read that passage, the next one. I think, were you on the 6th one? I thought.
Well, I'm not on the 6th one. I skipped over the other 5, but I did touch on those topics previously. So here we go. It is important to practice using your intuition. When you first start practicing, you may want to begin with small issues that do not have a significant impact on your life. For example, try to guess who is calling before you pick up your phone. Now, who hasn't sensed that before, right? Guess which elevator will show up first when you're standing in front of a bank of elevators. Practicing with these simple issues will allow you to stay relaxed and focused without too much distraction from fear or other mental chatter. As you practice, you will get better at recognizing your intuitive impulses, and you will gain confidence in using the skill. The more confident you feel about identifying your intuitive voice, the more you will trust it and be able to act on it. As you practice using your intuition and build your skill, you will find that your intuitive voice is a precious resource, an indispensable gift. You can use this inner wisdom to guide you in all of your decisions at work, at home, and at play. The more you use and trust your intuition, the stronger it will get and the more confident you will feel about it. The whispers from your soul will always guide you to the path that is for your highest good.
Yeah, when Dave said that before, the whole path of your highest good, I thought that what he was pointing to with listening to his intuition, it being the truth, always leading you to the right place. You know.
Exactly. Yep.
I don't know who it was that mic'd up. I apologize, but he mentioned something about he was getting back from the military or something, and he was thinking about going to get a job, but then he said, oh, maybe I'll travel. Yeah, the other topic, shall I say, talking point was the idea of loving ourselves enough to listen to our intuition and actually act on its guidance. In his case, maybe everyone else is telling him he needs to get, when he gets home, like, get your job and you get back into the workforce and you do that. But I think his intuition is saying, do this other thing, travel and see what happens. And I think that is like self-love. That's really like, loving that voice and that thing that's telling you to live your truth, and not someone else's. And I think that's really cool. That concept, the idea that we really kind of need to love ourselves to really go down the path and trust it.
Andrew, that was a new guest, Taynav, who came in the middle of the program, was trusted in. I didn't introduce him because the program was going on, but Yeah, new guest.
Hello, new guest. I'm Serenity. Welcome to Ring of Fire.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I've really been enjoying this group. I was listening for probably a good 30 minutes before I was trusted in, but really getting a lot out of it. And yeah, you're right. I think you're spot on with that comment about the story I just shared.
Yeah. Yeah, very good topic. So Andrew, when do you think we should go over our 3-month bucket list? Should we maybe say at 15 past the next hour, giving people an extra 20-something minutes in case they are still working on it, or those who haven't even heard about it and would like to participate?
Yeah, that could work. Let's just say 20 minutes from now. Okay, guys, just in case you didn't already know, we're doing a if we had 3 months to live, a kind of a mock. What would you do in those 3 months? And these are going to be things like very doable things. They wouldn't cost a lot of money necessarily. Wouldn't take a lot of your time necessarily. Just very doable. And try to come up with at least 6. And the idea is that in 3 months we're going to check back with each other and have a little, just a program just for that, and share what we were able to check off our list. So it's kind of a mini bucket list, 3-month bucket list. And maybe we'll upgrade to something later, to like a 1-year bucket list, and see what we can do in 1 year. But it's feasible items. So we got about 15, let's say 15 past the hour. Yeah, we'll have about 20 minutes to kind of come up with the list. If you haven't already been working on it, come up with a list, and at least you'll be in the game, so to speak, and we can all kind of help hold each other accountable. Again, at least we want to accomplish one of them. If you can accomplish them all the more power to you. And don't make it hard on yourself. It's supposed to be doable stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Cheryl.
You're welcome. Yeah, and it's a real list with things that are realistically attainable. The only thing that's really mock about it is that it's a mock 3 months to live. None of us really plan or have received such news that we have 3 months. You know, some things we wouldn't put on the list because we really aren't going to die. Like, we're not going to give away all our possessions or something like that. But we could give away 1 or 2. But yeah, things that, you know, now that we're actually faced with it, they need to be realistic. Because if we were talking about, like we were talking about this topic last week,
You lost your mic. It went dead first. We were talking about this topic last week.
yeah, and they'll anticipate that they have, you know, in 10 years from now, when they have 3 months to live, that they'll have the resources to do some of these more elaborate things, and maybe even the health to do some of these things. But in reality, we probably won't have either the health or the resources. So just make them realistic, and a list of 6 is pretty short and easy to do and fulfill.
And I'll just put it out there to remind us all that, yes, this is a pseudo 3 months to live thing, kind of a bucket list. We don't really have 3 months to live. None of us have been told that. But think about it this way. In reality, not one of us is promised tomorrow. Something could happen. I mean, knock on wood, right? Something could happen to any one of us where we wouldn't have 3 months. We might only have a week. We might have a day. Who knows? Maybe we won't wake up tomorrow. Who knows? So just in the back of your mind, remember, this is stuff that, I mean, like, really feel it, sense and feel and know, and have that knowing that I am not promised tomorrow. So maybe that'll help in your creation of your list. You know, that this is stuff that's important. Like, it's easy to do, but it doesn't cost a lot of money, but it's something you want to do. Like, you need to talk to your uncle. Like, for me, I know I want to try to reach out to my aunt and uncle in New York that I haven't talked to in a long time, just to thank them for all the birthday cards they've sent over the years religiously, you know, with $5 with the $5 bill, not accounting for inflation, you know, like little stuff like that you know you would feel bad if you know you were on your last leg and you didn't do it, let's say, you know, that kind of stuff. So sense that we're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah, so true. And you never know. We might have 2 months, we might have 2 years, we might have a heck of a lot more, but
All right, any last thoughts on this topic, harnessing our intuitive abilities? How can we harness our intuitive abilities? Is there anything that people can think of outside of what Cheryl's mentioned and what we've discussed so far? How to harness it? What other things we can do to enhance our intuitive abilities, let's say?
I think you can also just be more situationally aware. Just notice things around you, and with people around you, try to be more empathetic. Try to see their end of things, and I think the more you can practice, even talking with people, seeing how other people with other views, where they're coming from, will just give you a better, a bigger base to deal with, and may bleed into intuition as well.
With me, it's very simple. Think more of other people, less of myself. Be of maximum service to whatever my spirituality is and those around me. And it's just that simple.
Awesome shares, guys. Really appreciate everyone who's committed to this program and even this topic tonight. We're really giving it a run for its money, for sure. This is such a cool topic because it's that intangible like thing that we can harness to like actually, you know, change things in our life, even help others. Like he was just mentioning, being empathetic and trying to figure where people are coming from can only help us to when we go and we need to give an intuitive response to something that someone's going through to try to help them. You know, that intuitive response comes partly from experience, partly from, I don't know what else, call it what you will, but it can only help. So getting better at it can only help us all around, I think, in our life.
Well, I mean, you have practical application knowledge, like things you've done in your life, and then trial and error, I would guess. For me, myself, and it's what to do and when to do it. Sometimes not doing something is the right thing. It's hard. You got to, well, I don't know about you, but I have to sit down and think about a particular situation, maybe talk to somebody, maybe pray, meditate, whatever it is that I do to come up with the proper answer. Because sometimes helping, honestly, in some situations, is not the proper thing.
Yeah, part of me feels like just asking yourself the question, like, is this the right thing for me to do right now? You know, like really just kind of ask yourself the question and see what answer comes up. You got to do it in a place where you don't have a lot of distractions, but like, you know, whether verbally or just in your mind, just asking yourself the question, is this the right thing for me to do right now? And sometimes you have to just wait for the answer. You know, it's not always like clear cut and like, oh yeah, for sure, I definitely have to do this. But I think that's also I had mentioned it before. I think that's called inquiry. Is another word for it.
I'm really glad that I jumped back on channel and start talking to you guys. I had an issue, and this relates to it, and I'm getting a lot of really good insight, and so this is really good for me. I'm glad I came out here. I've been in a cantankerous mood all day, and people have been asking me how I feel, and I've been erroneous with them, misleading. I'm not telling anybody how I feel about stuff, and I've just been, yeah. So I'm glad I'm here. This is really cool for me. This worked out perfect.
Glad you're here too, brother. Appreciate it. Right place at the right time. It's a win-win for everyone that you're here.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, Buckshot, if you want to be a part of it, we are making a list based on last week. If we had 3 months to live, what would we do? It's not like we actually have that. It's making a list of some very feasible things that we could do, kind of like short bucket list items. Very easy things we can do that would matter if we had 3 months to live. Like, speaking to people that, we haven't talked to in a while, forgiving people that we really need to forgive and let ourselves free, and so we can move on. Stuff like this that matters. It doesn't really necessarily cost anything. You can be involved. Just break out some paper and pen and make a list of 6. The idea is in 3 months to try to accomplish as much of those 6 as you can. At least one. Let's not make this hard. It's really make the list at least, and then at least get one down. Hopefully we knock them all out, all of us. But hey, nobody's here to judge. Just we're trying to help each other out, and yeah, do the things that really matter to us.
Not having seen the movie, I'm at a little bit of a loss, and my visual inexcuity. I won't be able to write anything down, but I will be able to think about it and come back and tell you. I'm legally blind, so I can't write nothing down. I'm stuck on stupid, dude. I've been in a situation in which I've been trying to help, and it just all went wrong. One of them things kind of deals, and I'm at the end of it, and just emotionally drained and just waiting for everything to stop. Pretty much.
How's it going, Ring of Fire? I hope you all have a good evening, morning, or afternoon, or whatever time it is where you are. Pops, I see you in here. How's it going?
Hello, Sean. I don't know if you just heard the message, but we're doing a bucket list of 6 or more items that we can realistically cross off our pad of paper within the next 3 months, and we're going to be sharing that in about 10 minutes. You can probably do it in about 25 minutes if you move yours to the one of the last people to mention the list, as if you wanted to participate.
Couldn't hear you on that last mic up there, Boston. Barely could hear you. Maybe you need to get close to the mic or uncover it. Maybe you had your hand over it or something.
I think I covered the mic. How's it coming now?
Bueno! That would be good in Spanish or maybe even Italian.
New phone I've never used before. The insurance screwed up and sent me the wrong phone. They can be sending out a new phone, but it will take a few days. So I activated the new phone with their permission, so I have a phone. But still trying to learn it. I said, yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
Just taking 1 second to say hello. Hello, Sean.
Hey, David.
Are we running out of steam on this topic? Probably good we put our list reading for about 10 minutes from now.
Yeah, it's everybody's going hard on coming up with their bucket list items. That's what's going on, probably. Yeah, that's my guess. Yeah, let me just, before we get into it, final thoughts on the topic, and then maybe we could just wrap up the topic and help each other with their bucket list if we haven't completed it quite yet, and then we can share if we feel so compelled to share our bucket lists.
I'm trying to find Jacques Pupin's phone number, but it's not listed.
Oh, you're fine. Be realistic here. Andrew, you're really right. You know, wait till the last minute. And then there's some people that only heard about this sometime during the last 2 hours. So just now working on their list. So I'm hoping that's the case, why most people are not talking right now.
And I'm back. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I had to pick up my sister.
Like I said, I completely forgot. How am I coming through now? Am I coming in too loud or perfect?
Perfect for me, man. You good?
Yeah, I've been going hard on my list. I guess I think someone said if we just come up with 6 right now, we're good. So that's what I went for, 6.
Yeah, 6. That's it. 6 minimum. Can be more if you want, but doesn't have to be.
All right, I'm just gonna come up with it offhand right away once we get to this. I'm usually good at that.
All right, I'll just say a general final thought about harnessing our intuition. I think one of the main things that that we came to tonight was this whole idea of stillness, of getting to a place, doing something that creates less drama or monkey mind, so to speak, so that you can actually hear your intuition speaking whatever it's saying for you to do or act on or choose or be or any of that. So it's really what I got out of this mainly is this idea of we're going to hear our intuition better when we set up our lives to not have a lot of, let's say, stress and drama and I don't know, stuff that isn't about who we are, us. So that we can kind of step into this place where we're really trusting our intuition. We're able to kind of seek peace, like some meditation here and there, go into nature, do things for ourselves that are peaceful so that we can start listening to that intuition more, trusting it more, and maybe acting on it more. That's kind of what I got out of it. I mean, there's much more to it, I'm sure, than that, but it's kind of what it felt like to me.
Well, maybe, I don't know, it's weird. It's like I was here for like a little bit, but overall, I guess when we're, I wouldn't say angry or whatever with certain things, how we deal with it is what defines us, I guess.
Oh, and I just wanted to mention while we were still on the topic before Andrew keyed up that we're going to try to scratch all these things off the list. So remember, it's not just for fancy show to read off in a few minutes. This is something we're actually going to try to work at. So this isn't something fictitious. It's a real project.
All right, I'm done.
I have no time in my life. I work too much.
Once again, I would like to thank all you guys for being probably the most accepting group I've been in. Well, channel that I tried out. Thank you all. You guys are wonderful people. And whoever else was in here earlier about my little rant about the deaf kid, the deaf employee. Yeah, thank you. Guys, I was kind of PO'd at them.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you found a nice, comfortable place here on Zello. And people can be so cruel, but maybe they're ones to pity because of their ignorance and their lack of compassion and acceptance.
I actually just found out about this app, Zello today. And then I just happened to roll into this group. So yeah, also good timing.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you got a chance to experience this as one of your first channels. That's nice. It's kind of how I came into this as well. Like, I dabbled in a couple other channels and noticed that there was a bunch of drama, stuff that I just didn't feel right with, and then stumbled upon this. I was actually passing some time in a Walmart, from what I remember. I was looking for some kind of electronics, and generally passing some time, and that's when I was listening in on the Ring of Fire. I believe Cheryl was on when I first showed up to the scene, so pretty funny. But I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap it up, guys. Just to say thank you all for being here, for making the choice, of course, to be here. You could have done many other things. For those of you who are still sticking around till the bitter end of this awesomeness, thank you so much. Like, you have no idea. Your presence here shows a lot about you. Those who mic'd up, that's only going to ripple some love out to some other people down the road that might really needed to hear what you said. So, never hesitate to mic up if you feel compelled in here for this program. It's not just you that is going to be helped by you, miking up and speaking your mind, but it's others too. Always remember that. We share this program on YouTube. It's recorded each week so that more people can benefit from it. So if you just type in Our Healing Choices on YouTube, you'll get a playlist. I add one. Usually by the next week, you'll have this program up on YouTube, hopefully the next day. But sometimes it takes a week for me to really get to it, depending on my week. And there's also facebook.com/Our Healing Choices. And if you want to visit Cheryl's page for Ring of Fire, is facebook.com/Ring of Fire Chat /Ring of Fire Chat. So am I missing anything? Promote this stuff if you really enjoy it. You guys are awesome. I love you, and I hope you all come back for other future programs. Yeah, you could add me as a contact if you want to get a call alert an hour. Within the hour of each event. At least you'll get the topic, decide on whether you want to participate. That's all for now. Thanks again.
Thank you, Andrew. Thanks again for everything. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was thinking about, is adding you. One other thing I can think of is to click on the profile that I'm talking on, and you can see the other programs we have each week here in the channel. There's a total of 7 of them. And if you click on the link at the bottom, it will take you to the website, the calendar page specifically, and you can see more details about those programs. Yeah, and if you click on the link on the channel description will take you directly to the Ring of Fire website, where there's links to lots of goodies there, including the Facebook page. And in a moment, you'll see a picture. Here it comes from my other account. It is a collection of pictures. So it looks like that time. Andrew, do you want to start with your bucket list since you are the facilitator of this program?
No, by all means, I'm not ready. I'm the last one that's going to be ready for this. No, actually, I've got 4. I'm carrying it over because I originally started writing a bucket list of like actual bucket list items, not the 3-month. And then when you suggested 3-month, I was like, oh shoot, I'm just going to add a couple 3 months to that. And I just restarted a list here for 3-month. Although I'm debating on whether to add writing my own eulogy. I kind of just took some notes from last week. Maybe I'll save that one for later, for another day. Might be good for me, but we'll see. So what I've got so far, and again, you guys, if you need help with this, hey, we're all here for each other. If you need help writing your list and trying to clarify, like, what is this about? Like, you know, just mic up and we're good. So my first one is start a bucket list savings account and save, I'm just going to say 300. That's $100 a month. That's 300. It's going to be $300 for something on my list or a future list, but to start an actual account, or even an envelope and put money in it. We'll see. And then, oh, I did write my own eulogy. Okay, that's another one. The other one is have a conversation with my aunt and uncle to thank them for the birthday cards they've been sending all these years that I haven't. I mean, really, like, it's what a dedication, to never forget. They did stop at some point, but it was a very long time. And then the last one so far, I'll get a few more, I'm sure, is plan an outing with friends. It's either going to be volleyball, because we used to do that as a group, as all of our friends together. We used to play volleyball down at the beach. Will Rogers. So I'm going to try to plan that for the summer. Get them back together for that, or maybe a kayaking trip. I think someone had mentioned kayaking, or I just came up with that right now. Anyway, so what do you guys have? Curious, and if you guys need help, let's start with that. If you need any help with this or questions, just start there.
Well, what I have is like something. It's like you could say it's a long term, but it's a 3-month, because I explained why about my life a little bit. But for most of you that don't know, I am going to enlist in the United States Marine Corps. And currently, I am 10 pounds over the limit to sign my contract, and 180. I have to weigh 180 to leave for basic training. So I have a month to lose 10 pounds, so I can leave before Christmas and come back before Christmas. And I'm exercising every day to obtain that goal. And even though it's only 3 months of training, it's going to be a long term, because it's going to be long and strenuous on my body. But I know if I can finish that one thing with all these other obstacles with my weight, I know I can do anything else, because from what I understand, it is the hardest thing to do in life. Well, military life, I mean. Yeah, it may sound weird or stupid, but hey, it's like something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I regret not doing it straight out of high school.
Wow. Well, yeah, 10 pounds in a month, it can be done. You just have to do some serious calorie restriction, try to burn some of that off. But yeah, it's not that highly unattainable. And yeah, Andrew, I kind of figured you wouldn't be finished with that, but you got 4, so that's great. And you guys, this isn't intended to impress anybody in here. Just be honest with yourself, what you can attain, what you really want, etc. All right, I'll go ahead and read mine. They're just simple things. This is me being real and realistic. I'm not trying to impress anyone. Not highly elaborate. Okay, number one, see my mom and my sister. I can knock that out in one trip because my sister's been living with my mom for a while. Two is see my father. He lives quite close, but I don't really see him all that often. And last time I saw him, it was simply to get a jump start for my car. Three, another very simple and inexpensive thing. All it's going to cost is gasoline, like the other two things. It's go to the beach and put my toes in the ocean. Just enjoy a day on the beach. The weather's getting nice, so yeah, definitely a good thing for the next 3 months. Number four, a little pampering for myself. I'm going to treat myself to a dinner and a movie. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the same night, because that can be kind of hard on me to sit through two things like that back to back. Number five, treat myself to a massage. Number six, this is kind of a mini version of something I probably would do if I really was dying. I'd probably be giving away as many of my things as I could, rather than simply listing them in a will and or having people just take what they want. But since I'm not planning on dying, I'm not going to give everything away, but I'll do a mini version and give something away that's special to me and give it to someone who is special in my life. And then I have two more added to this. I actually got 8. So number 7 is to call all my friends and family that come to my mind when I sit and think about it, not looking through my contact list and going, next person, just those who come to mind. And last but not least, believe it or not, is to buy myself something nice. Yeah, like why would I want to do that if I'm dying? Well, we can all enjoy something even if we only have 2 or 3 months to live, right? And then it'll find a new home when I'm gone and dead. But since I'm not planning on dying, I'll get to keep it for longer than that. So that is my bucket list in its entirety. Thank you for listening.
Okay, I got a short bucket list. One is to go for a walk as the sun rises. Go for a walk as the sun sets. That's 2. Learn to cook a new dish because I hate cooking. I eat out a lot. So also to get up to 12 miles on my running at a 9-minute or better pace, which is not too far off for me, and to contact all my family. I got family on like a few continents, but I want to try to contact all of them just to say at least hello, talk to them for at least 2 minutes. Some of them I haven't talked to in a year or so. And yeah, I think that's all I can remember from the list because I wrote it down on another app on this phone that's being occupied by this app. But yeah, that's all I got right now.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing, guys. Anybody else have a 3-month bucket list you're working on? Even if it's not complete, it's all good. You can share what you got or what you feel like sharing. The goal was to try to come up with at least 6 and do at least 1 in 3 months. I think we can easily do that. Remember, these are supposed to be feasible, very easy to do. It's just something we've procrastinated maybe doing for a while. We just know we need to do it for ourselves. So yeah, anybody else have some they'd like to share?
Yeah, and here's a thought. If you have a list to share and it's shy any number of those 6, you can always add to it as you think of it over the coming days. And our goal is to meet back here in 3 months from last week, which would be, I believe, webisode number 127, and go over the things we scratched off our list. We're going to really try to get all 6 off the list, but you do what you can. And that's the reason why we're trying to be realistic about this. Things that we can actually do, like a trip to Spain or something, may not be realistic, even though it's something we'd like to do.
Oh yeah, I got 2 more things I just forgot about. One was to swim in the ocean, and then the other was to send a postcard just for old time's sake to somebody.
Oh, that's cool. I like collecting postcards. And you guys, if you get any inspiration from the ones you've heard so far, that's fine too. You can use the idea and tweak it to your own personal desires.
Already doing it. That's a good point. Didn't think that would be something to do, but I've already borrowed a couple, so that's good.
Well, I could make a list, but I've already done so much that I don't know what there is left to do. I've been very fortunate in life.
Liar, liar. There's always something you can do, man. How about go to the local homeless shelter and help prepare food? I mean, there are other ways to give than that, but how about doing something for others? Not to say that that hasn't happened in your life, but I'm just saying that's always a good thing to do. If you had 3 months to live, that would definitely give you some fulfillment. And the reality of it is that in our living days, it's a sense of fulfillment and meaning as well, if you can find a good way that works for you.
Absolutely. And Hun, I know you've done a lot in your, but you are quite young, and there's so much more you can do, and I'm sure there's so much more that you'd still like to do. You know, traveling and some of the things you've done isn't everything. And if there's nothing you want to do for yourself, think of others. Like Andrew suggested, it could be for strangers, the less fortunate. It could be for those that you love, care about.
I already do. Every summer I volunteer at the Special Olympics Massachusetts, fly up there and help out all weekend. I do a lot of pay it forwards. I've been to many different places. I've been grateful for what I've been given in life, and I give back. So when I try, okay, let me restate. When I say there's truly not much more I can do, I already do so much not only for myself and family and friends, but for others too. Like I said, I pay it forward. I volunteer. I do a lot of stuff. So it's hard to put a finger on what's left to actually do.
That's pretty cool, man. You're very fortunate, it sounds like. Um, I'm sure if you went to a kind of a tranquil, peaceful place without a lot of noise, I'm sure you could come up with something. I mean, if it is that you want to come up with something more. Remember, you're breathing, right? You're still alive, right? So it means there's plenty left to do, whatever it might be. So I believe in you.
Yeah, I think you can come up with something else. Something I was going to mention, and then I started reading off my list. I was going to mention at the end, and I completely forgot. There's a family reunion coming up around the end of July. We do them every 2 years. And actually, a little while ago, the matriarchs and the patriarchs, everyone over, I think, 50 or 55, all the seniors, they do a thing every other year as well in between years. But we've been doing family reunions for a very large family that just keeps growing. Do this every 2 years. The next one is going to be over on the West Coast in a very hot region. Not sure if I can make it, but that is going to be within the next 3 months. So maybe I'll try to do that. I haven't been to the last couple.
I can book your trip. But no, I'm kidding. But no, like, there is, yes, stuff I could do. But my schedule right now is currently just so busy with things I'm currently doing. Like, I'm doing a bunch of stuff with the travel agency. I have a bunch of trips planned. I'm heading up to Boston to volunteer for the Special Olympics. It's just so much on my plate now, too, that when I'm not home and relaxing, I'm usually doing something. Like, planning on getting back into playing baseball, but I don't know how far out that's going to be because I'm still so busy.
You know, it could be, and this may not necessarily be for you, but for somebody, it could be something as simple as reading a book that you've always wanted to read, or you think you should, so it has some knowledge you think you should fill your head with.
Actually, I just thought of my other one was to, I want to personally compliment everybody I work with on a daily basis. Like, not just bring them all together and say, I want to thank you all, but like actually have time to think about what I like about that person, what I admire about them, and then any given day within the next couple of months, tell them I appreciate them or compliment them in some way.
Nice. Some gratitude there, some appreciation. Compliments, very good.
Okay, I'm here. Can I read mine?
Oh, wait, I forgot one. I want to go meet David. David, if we're going to meet up sometime, you better have that on your bucket list. But yeah, go ahead, David.
Yeah, because I've been living in the bucket list for a long time, I kind of covered all the family things. So those of you who don't know, I'm retired and I have a lot of time to handle a bucket list in the last few years. But anyway, I did come up with a couple in a short time. One is to learn to develop software in Android. I used to develop software in other languages, but I don't know Java, and I want to write some software for Android, and that's just a personal thing. The other thing is to learn to play guitar again with arthritis, because recently I played a little guitar and I'm really enjoying it, and I want to get back into it. So I'm going to start doing some exercises and see if I can get back into that. And the third one that I came up with is to practice and learn to be a better moderator on Ring of Fire. I want to be the best moderator on Ring of Fire. That's a goal of mine. So that's about it for now.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's possible, David, to be a better moderator than you already are. And aren't you already the best moderator ever?
No, that's my son, Sean, there. He's the best.
No, you are, Pops. But, he did remind me of something, even though it's on topic. I am considering starting up a travel blog, or like a travel vlog, like video blog on YouTube and recording some of the things I'm doing. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. But, yeah.
I like it. Great idea. Yeah, write it down. Stick it on your mirror. At least you'll have one thing for your bucket list. And Dave, my goodness, you sure have lofty goals, don't you? To be an even better moderator than you already are.
Wait. I got one for my bucket list. Make food, which I'm about to do now.
Okay, no fair, man. You're supposed to do it in 3 months. You're cutting it short. So in about 10 minutes, we're gonna have to ask you again. Do you have anything for your bucket list? Oh man, too funny. And David, I think I might have a potential project for you once you start going on that Android app development. So been wanting to do it myself, but I thought it might be better to have someone work on it and maybe kick them back a certain aspect of the whatever comes in from selling the upgraded version of the app. So if you get into it, I got at least one project for you. I think there's another one in mind, but start with the simple one that's the most effective, and that is a inspirational meme slideshow. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Cool. Another goal. Let me write that one down. To develop something for Andrew. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, and it would be a gift, of course.
It would be a gift in both ways, I'm sure, and I'm sure you do it better than most. Yeah, I don't doubt that you. I mean, you seem to be the kind of person that gives it your all. You know, you're not half-ass on much of anything. Seems like so. I would trust in you pretty well. And it's pretty simple, and it's very. It would be so effective, so important in people's lives to be able to see a different inspirational meme every time they turn on their phone. Let's say, I don't know. Hope I'm not giving away too many trade secrets there, but you have to have the goods, and I got the goods. I just need an app. Anyway, who else has stuff to share? I mean, anybody else work on the 3-month bucket list that they'd like to share? Anyone in the background there that doesn't always mic up might want to just mic up and share their list. This is also what I call accountability. Not really what I call accountability, but one of the reasons I thought it would be good to have this program is when we mention our healing choices, when we mention choices that we've made, to help hold each other on the path of that new choice and that change in our lives, we mention it, we get it out of we let it flow off of our lips in words so that other people can help maybe hold us accountable. And also it gets it out from under the carpet for us. Yeah, our dreams, our desires, our changes and everything are out there, and others, good people like the ones that come around here, can help us get there, which is great. So I like this project, this 3-month bucket list project. Can't wait to see what it becomes, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a good idea. Oh, wait, that was my idea. Okay, never mind. Yeah, excuse me. You know, Shan was here last week, and she's been very enthusiastic about this channel and this program, some of the other programs. And since she was here last week, I thought she'd be participating in this bucket list and have one to share, but she's not here right now. Maybe she'll pop back in. Hope so.
I'll generally make a note to mention it next week. I think the reality of it is that you're not going to get a whole lot of people involved in just one night, but if we stretch it out over a couple nights and just mention it just once or twice, next week we should be fine. But yeah, let's just wait a minute and see if anybody else would like to share. We'll carry on from there and maybe wrap this up a little bit once we have 1 or 2 more shares, maybe. Heck, if we have 10 people, let's bring it out. Let's get it out there. You know, remember that thing about accountability? It helps.
Good evening, everyone. The 6 lists, I got 3 so far. Take a trip to the beach by myself. No one else, just me. No friends or anything. Enjoy it peacefully, whatnot. Then do a trip up into the mountains around Wolf Creek with close friends and family members. And 3, do the entire trip across the coast or across the country on not interstate, but Highway 84. I went all the way to Texas one time on it, but want to go all the way across one day.
Hey, hello there. Yep, and just try to put stuff down that we think we can do in 3 months. If we miss that mark, we can always keep it on a list, or if there's something we're pretty sure we can't do in 3 months, we can add that to another longer list.
All right, I'm cutting the food out one now. Got one down.
I think that's kind of more of a goal or necessity, cooking dinner. But one of our new users here mentioned that he'd like to learn how to make a new dish. So not necessarily out of necessity, wants to be a creative and learn something new. All right. I was leaving a message in solo, so I didn't get your whole message about your bucket list, Carl, so I just had an opportunity to play it back. I see we have a parallel, going to the beach alone.
Yeah, that's one of my things. Just want to go enjoy it by myself, no one else. Then I got four. You know, once the one contains where I take the trip across US 84. It's a 2-lane/4-lane highway all the way across the country, and I'll get to see the back little country towns and countryside and stuff that you don't get to see on the interstate. Then once I get to the West Coast, take a trip down the Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Actually, the Pacific Coast Highway drive. Yeah, I need to do that. I'm on the West Coast too, so maybe I'll.
Yeah, I've been up quite a ways up in Northern California, not all the way, and I've driven along PCH quite a ways, but my trip up or trips up north have not been on PCH. I haven't taken that route the whole way. That's the scenic route, the slower route. I've usually taken the 5, maybe the 101, because it's a quicker route. But yeah, maybe someday I'll get to trek up there beyond Santa Barbara. I think I've been on PCH north of there, but I haven't stayed on PCH beyond Santa Barbara.
Hey,